Hey gang, Hammersill here. As you can see, Joe sent this game file to me. He's playing the Iowa in a Tier 9 match. I didn't get a whole lot of information from Joe about this game other than when he's told me that he doesn't play too many random matches, which is true. My guess, of course, is that he has a heck of a game here, but we'll watch it together and we'll see. Don't see that view much anymore. Okay, we'll take a look at the lineup in terms of what I at least consider the biggest threats. Torpedoes in the Iowa. As long as he stays angled, it should be okay. I mean, there's a lot of HE spam in the form of that Cleveland and New York, but Benson, what is the 9.2 kilometer torpedoes? Z46, 9.5 or so, I think. And I honestly don't remember what Skane, or however you want to pronounce that. I don't remember what the range is on that. I don't think it's too bad. Maybe 10? Somebody help me out with that. I blazed through that ship pretty darn fast and haven't looked back. Now, Joe is heading for the Charlie flank. On that side we have Pommern, Musashi, Aegir, Aland, and Bliskowitz. Munchin is trying to support the Z-39 there in the center. Of course, that cruiser has fairly rapid firing, what are they, 152s? Could probably tear up a DD pretty well. Did he just go nose into the island? Meanwhile, Joe is positioning to try and catch somebody traversing. And it looks like he did. Kronstadt is just sitting there. Oh, he's reversing. The shells will fall out ahead of him. There's the Benson. York is on this side as well. Kronstadt goes dark. Must have been the Bliskowitz that had it spotted. There it is again. It's moving forward now. And he's turning in. Or he was. Maybe he's just going to run straight at the DDs. Might be a little bit high, but got my fingers crossed. Yeah, Kronstadt's just running straight at the battleships now. And you can see that he's pretty well protected by the island, at least with regards to the Musashi and Joe here. And there's another Musashi out there that Joe's trying to put shells on. I think I'd probably shoot at that Bismarck, or even the... Yeah, my choices are getting limited now due to smoke. Benson went in there and saved the day. Aegir just blew the heck out of that island. Alright, Kronstadt's going to show his side. Bismarck's out there as well. A little bit higher, a little bit higher.
Our team has taken the lead.
It's going after the Bismarck instead of the Kronstadt. Well, no. There's a York out there as well. Yeah, I think I'd probably fire on the Kronstadt. Now, if you have not played the U.S. battleships, The shell characteristics are, when they hit like a Mack truck, I mean, they really do, but if you look at the time to target, you get about 11 seconds there. Oop, there's DD dead in front of him. So if you're not used to firing at long range, it can be tough to gauge exactly how much lead to give. York goes down. You can see the shells didn't really hit the target there. Now for somebody who plays primarily co-op games, you very often have the opportunity to fire at much closer ranges. So my guess is Joe was struggling here a little bit with nice close quarter expert with his long range shots. It's not that you never make long range shots when you're playing co-op. It's just that, you know, the AI for the most part runs kind of straight at you. So after the first couple minutes, everything's usually fairly close. Now you can't see it in the replay, but you know, your actual aiming reticule will give you hash marks, even with numbers on it. It'll tell you if you look at that, and then the seconds to target, which is just to the left and under the green reticule that you see there. There's a time to target indicator, and you can use that and the hash marks to gauge how much lead you need to give somebody. It's not perfectly precise, and you have to kind of gauge, is the ship at full speed, 3/4 speed, half speed, quarter speed? Is it reversing? Did it just start reversing? Is it at full reverse speed? Is it at full you know, max speed right now, or did it just accelerate from a stop? I mean, all those things have to be gauged as you try and determine exactly where to place your shot. Joe is wisely, at least in my opinion, turning away from the last known position of the Benson. I would expect torpedoes to come out of that corner there. Not really in view right now, but if you look at the mini-map where the Benson was. There we go. There's a shot landed. That one looks like it's bound for the island. But, getting back to what I was saying earlier, if you don't play a whole lot of randoms and you play primarily co-op games or operations, these long-range sniper battles that you very often find yourself in a battleship in a random match can be very, very challenging. Now you can see he was making some adjustments there to his aim. Musashi is going to roll right underneath those shells. That looks pretty good. Musashi's trying to turn in, but I think too late. And there's a Citadel. Nice shot. Now you got the friendly Eland out there screening for you. So Joe probably feels a little comfortable, at least a little bit comfortable, pushing into this. Because he's got a DD out there who would presumably see torpedoes. That's probably going to be a little too high. Before they got to him. So you could see there that the Musashi was starting to turn in. Almost every ship in the game is going to slow down quite a bit when it turns. So you have to account for that in your aim. There's the Benson, detected by the Hollande. And it looks like the friendly Musashi is trying to angle against those torpedoes. Hopefully the Hollande will be able to now finish off the Benson with his own torpedoes. And he did, but meanwhile, Z-39, friendly Z-39 went down. Nope, other side. There you go. You know, another thing to work on for anybody, I mean myself included, is where to aim. If you know the armor thicknesses of the various points on the enemy ship, you know, whatever that ship happens to be, that target, and you know the size of the shell that you're slinging, you can gauge where it makes sense for you to put shells and where it doesn't. At this range, I would shoot right at the waterline That's a little higher than I would have fired, but well, I say right at the waterline. That was if Musashi kept going and showed full broadside. Now, Joe is showing full broadside, and you saw that he was detected there briefly. Or not detected, aimed at there briefly. And Musashi may retarget him before it's over. No. Musashi wants to finish off the friendly Musashi. You can see now he's targeted. And if Joe keeps running full broadside like this, he's going to get pummeled by that Musashi. Now the Eland is going to put torpedoes up. He took out a gun. And the torpedoes that have just been put out are probably going to finish off the Musashi. Even though the Pan-European... Well, no. Even though the Pan-European DDs don't do a whole lot of damage with their torpedoes, especially at that kind of range, they can be deadly, but he just kind of whiffed. There we go. Nice shooting, Tex. Of course, this obviously was an intentional application of the brakes, right? In the form of a large body of land in the middle of the water. No, he's gonna be able to avoid it. How many times have I slammed into an island in a gunfight? Lots of times. So that's, if you keep a score, that's 2 kills for Joe, 2 Citadels. Good guys are, well, they've got a pretty commanding lead, 500 points roughly to 200. 3 ships to the enemy's 2 ships. Fortunately for Joe, he's in a ship with a very long range. Look at that, 27.1 kilometers. Looks like somebody took a module for range. Yeah, I don't think that's the stock range. Correct me if I'm wrong. So he'll be able to actually get shells on something if he gets out from behind these islands. So 32 shell hits, 2 kills, 7 secondary hits. Oh, that Massachusetts is running broadside. Well, look at the range with the plane in the air. Holy cow, you can cover the entire map. 2 Citadels, down goes Munchen. Helped secure 1 cap and 1 incapacitation. That close quarters kill, that's great. I don't know that I ever did that playing Iowa. So another thing, just kind of a point of order. Once you determine where you're going to go, aim your guns accordingly. Especially in a battleship, because they rotate so slowly. Those turrets do not move quickly. And you can see that ultimately, Joe did do that. He figured out, okay, here's where I want to go, and he's got his guns aimed in the direction that he anticipates seeing the Massachusetts. He's got a Eland running just north of him. Now, it's a pretty sure thing that if Joe gets spotted here, it's probably the DD. Well, unless he fires. Boy, that's really pixelated, isn't it? I have to remember to ask Joe about his graphics settings. You know, different machines are able to handle different settings. But I don't remember seeing that kind of pixelation, when zoomed in. Massachusetts does not have a whole heck of a lot in the way of hit points. One of those torpedoes hits, probably going to get about half of those points gone. There's a Z-46. And Joe was right there ready to punish him. 146, loses about a third of his points. Hollande is running for his life with only 400 hit points. And Joe's going to try and use speed to outrun the direction of these torpedoes, which are probably on their way right now. Now, there were two choices here. One was to turn out, and one was just to run right between that gap. I don't think the torpedoes could have caught him if he had run through that gap either, but
torpedoes astern.
Either way, the German destroyer's torpedoes, just a complete whiff. And nicely done, Joe, getting out of the way of those things. So we're going to see 3 kills here? It's kind of feeling like we might.
You are the last hope.
Oh boy. Hollande got himself spotted. It really only took 1 shell to finish him off. And now the enemies know where Joe is at, and with 4 minutes to go, I don't know that the bad guys can win this on points. My guess is that the DD has probably come to the same conclusion, and rather than running for C, he's probably going to try and help sink Joe here. Yeah, Joe's still detected. So the DD is still fairly close. Detection radius of 12.7 kilometers. So I think it's fair to anticipate torpedoes. It's just a question of where they will be coming from. Come on, Massachusetts. Show that broadside. He's going to try and swing that nose around as quick as he can. Well, Joe showed a little broadside. The Massachusetts did a great job of getting his nose around, just around the island. And it looks to me like the Massachusetts is probably slowing down, maybe going to come to a stop. And you can tell by the little yellow dot above the ship. I'd aim a little higher. Maybe not even at the guns, maybe just right into the superstructure. Another thing you might think about in a situation like this is switching to HE. You know you've got a DD out there, and that's certainly going to be more effective against the DD. You're now targeted by 2. If that drops to 1, that probably means that the torpedoes are on their way. Aim nice and high. A little bit more to the right. There you go. Now you're showing broadside to the Massachusetts if his guns are ready. That's dangerous. There you go. That's it. Right there. Listen to me talking as though he can hear me.
The ship is on fire.
Only a minute to go. Really, all at this point, all Joe has to do is just not die. He doesn't have to sink anybody. He just has to stay alive. Nobody's got him detected, which I'm a little surprised by.
Problem solved, sir.
The bad guys have to have figured out that if they don't sink Joe, they lose. Now, the German destroyer might come around that island at the far right of the screen there.
Torpedoes to starboard.
Looks like he's going to need at least 1 torp here unless it runs out of range. It did. You can see people in the chat saying, "Why are you showing broadside?" It's a good question. That Massachusetts is bound to come around there. And you can see how he's angled up very well. That's probably going to be it for the Massachusetts. That's going to be high enough to really do some damage. There we go.
Enemy battleship foundered.
And that secures the win for sure. Great job, Joe. Thanks for sending the game file in. Really appreciate it. Fun to watch. I'll see you guys next time.